Now everybody sees this. I think, as I mentioned before, we have a preview of the release notes. So I think we actually can just start with that to see what the new package contains. The bugs here are perhaps just things that we have solved. For example, this dimension with empty description. I don't know how many of you have entered that, but we have some problems in some customers. So that kind of stuff will be, and also the tax indicators here. This is still an issue somehow because we have corrected the way the order, so to speak, here. But the bug here, yeah, that's a different thing. The tax indicators here, before we couldn't update the tax indicators because it got wrong when using Delta Data Management. It got crap totally, actually. So now we have made this possible to update the tax indicators using Delta Data. If you have run.
But Simon, tax indicators, they are often not so many. So I mean, the actual meaning of using Delta Data for those might be,
True. It can be, though, that if we are having the goal to go to lots of customers in the cloud environment, we want to use Delta Data for as much as possible. But that's true, yeah. If we have a lot of customers or a lot of companies for a certain customer, for example, in Holland, they have a huge lot of tax indicators of some reason. I don't know why, but they just want to have it like that. So, well, yeah, but still it's not so many. Updating price for head level, yes. Template schedule, pre-accounting. Yeah, this can be interesting. Some customers will feel that that's annoying because they think it's ugly to have the payables account there instead of the real account. But we have had some issues with using the real account, especially with fixed assets, because in some cases it doesn't exist. So now we have replaced it with payables account so we can import the pre-accounting. And that this is done for all, actually. So, or even with orders, the delivery lines, we also have payables account. So that's what it will look like from now on. And this is also interesting, unhandled exceptions, that this can happen if the URL are not, the web service is not online. Before we got a really odd error back, but now we caught this and it's handled, so we get an error back to Meteors Flow, and it can be posted again. Before it got stuck in processing, but now it's not, so we have fixed that as well. Preliminary after connection, well, I think we need to back on that because that will not work. So for those that want to use that, preliminary after connection has a problem when comparing with preliminary after coding, because the pre-accounting is for some reason not included in the preliminary after connection. So we have a connection, but the pre-coding is not added to the coding lines, and that's when we get that back to NAV. It's just nothing we can use. So I think we had questioned actually why we have preliminary after connection at all. Even Rickard asked that, because now we can't use it. It's useless. Correlation filter. Yeah. The thing here is that original document ID. Well, this is misspelling. Original document ID is to get out if this is an expense invoice or an order-based invoice. But now what happened in the new package is that we're using the same file, the same XML file for all kinds of posting. So no matter if it's an order-based or expense invoice or whatever it is, it goes through the same XML file. And that's why we have this. So we don't care what the original document ID is in the file. and then we ignore that with the semicolon. Yeah, so that's just details. That's perhaps not a bug, it's just adjustment. Okay, so let's go to this one. Basic restrictions is now implemented, so now we can use delta data for all dimensions. If you have any questions, just go in here. And then we have also, this one is perhaps quite general. The code is rewritten from the ground, and what is included in that point is that we have cut the code into pieces, so to speak. So when you configure, when we go to the configuration file, actually I think we can look at that. There it is. In the configuration file now we can choose what kind of version of NAV we are using here, 2009, and then we can also pick if we are using the FeedCode add-on, if we are using the base add-on, if we are using the KID add-on, and that kind of stuff. So we tell already here what kind of add-ons are we using, and also if we are using the Swedish localization at all. And that means that when we are running this configuration file through the deployment script, it will construct a perfect coding file for just this customer. So we don't have any useless code, we don't have any code that won't be able to compile. We will have just the things that are needed for this customer. And that's a big enhancement, we think, improvement. Well, the rest is as before. I think we choose numbers here, and so we don't need to go into the file and renumber it. It renumbers from the deployment script here what the object numbers are. But also this means that we don't need to when we choose here that it's 2009, we have some default values that are set from the beginning using that, because it's most common to have certain configuration with 2009. But we can also, if we want, go down and adjust these. They are default, but we can adjust them if we want. So that possibility still exists here. Okay. This is also kind of nice. We use the same package for everything now, so all the development we do from here and on is using the same package. We don't need to look at different packages. Also, this Swedish and International is not different either, because as you saw before in the configuration script, we just choose if the Swedish localizations are included or not. See what more is interesting here. Well, this is just things that are documentation is removed from the package. That might be interesting. we have taken a decision that all documentation will be on the community pages. So we will update the product definition, update the package descriptions and everything. So there you will find all the answers. We will still have, of course, notes or comments in the code where we have changed from package to package, because that might be helpful when you update the package. But the full documentation is not there anymore. And this is also an interesting, really nice point. The data table wrapper is gone, completely gone. We had some issues with that because there were different versions of that data table wrapper actually flying around. And also we needed to send this to the customer for them to place it on the web server side. And that was just a lot of permissions and a lot of questions, but now we don't need that anymore. So that's really nice. And that we have already discussed. This one is also a general point from MFE, so all top 5 will have a new deployment script now that can use the customization folder, for example. And the customization folder, just to mention it, for example, when we have master data here, this is kind of crowded now, but all the master data files are numbered, so we have split up in different entities. And this makes it possible, I think we can have a separate meeting for that, but this makes it possible for replacing only one of these. So if you have some customization in payment terms, you place that in the customization folder, exactly this name. So a file with exactly this name will be in the customization folder, and when this is run and it's scheduled, it will take your customized file instead of this one. And the number here in the beginning also makes it tells which order it will be scheduled. So this will be the first one, and so on. And this is a try, so to speak. We still have this problem with dependencies between accounts and tax indicators. So that's why we have this kind of string thing here. We have VAT account there and tax indicates, and then comes the accounts. So this is we still need to run these manually because XI will import them in parallel. So we can't just push everything here in in XI. But it's a help, at least, to see what we need to run first. Okay. This one is also new. I don't know if you have so much problem with it, but it's possible in NAV to have a delivery sorry, a delivery, and then you reverse that delivery because you regret or it was wrong, or something was bad with it. So you reverse it and then you do a new delivery. The problem with that is that it creates a negative line on the first delivery, so it creates a second line with a negative quantity. But XI still thinks that we have the delivery. So what we have done now is that when we get these reverse deliveries, it's actually summarized, so we will change the quantity on the first delivery in XI, so it goes down to 0, so we can't use it. If that delivery is already connected to an invoice, then we have a problem. We need to send it back to connection, and then we can see the difference. But still, this is the best we can do, actually. So we will adjust those. If they are reversed, they will be 0 in XI. This one is already discussed. I don't know, it's a duplicate. Yeah, this is a general point also. We need to update all customer documentation. This is not completely done yet, but as this is a pre-release, it will come. And this is also implemented now. It could be interesting. We are importing the external invoice quantity. So for example, if they, before they introduce the immediate flow, or if they do it on a continuous basis, if they have some invoicing outside of XI, that will also be handled in XI now. So we will transfer that information to XI, so it's updated. This one, the last one but not least, is really nice. Before in the packages we could choose on the configuration card if we want to update the price at all, and we could choose also if it was updated only on the invoice or on the order. Now we have changed this a little, so we have decided that if the configuration in Xi is like this, to handle the automate if it's automatically automatically counted with same as cost, and it's approved deviation or it's a deviation within tolerance, then we will always update the order price, because that's what most customers used. And if they don't want to update the order price, or if they don't want to update at all, well, the later one, if they don't want to update at all, then they should not have this automatic accounting. But if they want to update only the invoice, then we have a customization for just that customer. Actually, we said that we decided that that was easier and simpler, because then you don't need to configure so much in NAV. So that will happen automatically if we have this kind of setup in Xi. We will get that update in the order. And the result of that, if you have not used it before, is that they don't need to send the invoice back to new connection. It will actually update the price and post the invoice directly. Before, they needed to change the order and then send it back after a new master data transfer and that kind of stuff. So for those customers that want to have this function, it's really nice. Because, for example, I know there was some customers that when they deliver their orders, they put the amount, the price to 0, because they never know what the final price will be. So for such a customer, this will be nice, because it will always take the price from the invoice and update the order in that case. Okay.
I tried this one at a customer training last week at Seldén Must, and it works really good. Extremely nice to work with compared to the old way of working.
Yeah, it is.
So great job.
So that was all the points we have here. Actually, the last ones, I think it's they are not done yet, but I think it's more. Yeah, we need to make sure that the customization folder works and that kind of stuff. So any questions?
When can we start using this package?
Yeah, the last one here is pilot things that we have. Seldén has implemented it for Sweden, and Domino's have implemented it for international customers. And we have some issues that we found there that we need to just fix before we can release this, but very soon. And as soon as you have, for new customers, we can be pretty sure that this will work. For upgrading customers, I think that me or Joel need to be in that project to help you, because the structure of the package is so different from before. This is a major release, actually. So I think if you have new customers, well, then you can just ask us for having the release candidate, and I think it will work. After we have fixed these points, we don't know any other things that we need to do, so then we can release it completely. So it's very close. Yeah.
Simon, this is Jorgos.
Yes.
What would be the main incentive to pursue for updates of customers, existing live projects to start using this? Because there's quite some work involved in that.
Yeah, it is quite some work to have the.
When do we make that decision? I mean, if a customer wants to do a new way of posting or wants to add companies, I mean, it's quite some work.
Yeah. I will say that add companies is not enough to make that decision. Then I think they should stay on the package they have. What we can do is for example, if they need to use some of the functions here, we can of course take just that function and just make a note that this is taken from package 5.
Mm-hmm.
But for example, these big things, taking away data table wrapper, it's crowded in the whole package. It affects all the whole package. So the small things we can do, but if they need to take away some of these big issues here, then it is an upgrade. But I think we need to, that need to be decided in every project, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, of course, if it works, it works.
Yeah.
So there's nothing on the roadmap that says that, okay, we need to move our customers to this.
Yeah.
Function-wise, it's there isn't an incentive. I would say it's more that this is a nicer package to work with.
Yeah.
And this is the future of the Navision integration.
Yeah, it is exactly. One thing that could be, but that depends on the customer, is this one, external invoice quantity. If they have other integrations that will invoice their orders, then they need this, and this is an easy thing to import into that constant their current package, for example.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
But one of the things that need to be a discussion in every project, I think.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
I have a general question, but not for the package.
Yeah. I think we can close the package then. So shoot.
Yeah, I just wanted to know whether it's common also in Norway and maybe in the Netherlands to use purchase documents to post expense invoices. As far as I can understand, it's typical behavior in Sweden. In Denmark, we normally use journals all the time, so it's costing us a lot of problems using those purchase documents. I'm not really sure why there's this difference between the countries, so I was just curious about how you normally do in other countries.
That's a good question. Yeah.
Purchase documents? Well, what is that actually?
Well, the thing is that you can use a journal. Then you only put the journal line, and you can post, for example, many invoices at the same time. Actually, that's fully possible. You post that in a journal with just a separate line for a separate that kind of stuff. But the posting document that Maria is talking about is that you open up the actual invoice. You have a header and you have the lines and well, the invoice form. So that invoice form is not used in other countries, elsewhere in Denmark. They use just a journal.
The reason why I'm asking is we, like many other Navision customers, ours have a lot of customizations, and most of them are always triggered in the journals. So that means we're using a lot of time to make customizations, removing the old customization that they have in the journals to also be able to use on a purchase document.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a very good question. Since NAV started in Denmark, I don't know why.
No, me neither. But I just heard from different experts here, Navision experts, that is very common that Swedish companies are using purchase documents like a tradition, and Danish companies are using journals. So
Yeah.
I'm just curious about how it was in other countries.
Yeah, I've seen both here in Norway.
Yeah.
Simon, are we doing that in the Netherlands as well? I'm asking you because I really don't know.
You should know. Well, no. Actually in Holland I haven't seen the journal.
No.
No. They are always used in the document.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, so there is a difference, but it's a good question because I have wondered about that as well.
Yeah, we're trying to make a business case here and see whether it is possible, because we are actually struggling with this on all our customers.
Yeah.
So, but that's not a short-term plan, of course.
Yeah, and I'm aware of that, and if that is actually, if we will have, it's always a question of amount of customers. Sorry to say that, but it is.
Yeah.
And
I
if
know.
we have more Denmark customers, then absolutely we need to look at this, because we will have this in every project. So then we need to have a function to work with the journals instead.
Yep.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Any questions? No. Now it's 9:30.
Yeah. I would like the package.
Yeah. I think you can actually. I think we just want to. How urgent is it?
I was hoping to deploy it today, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a kind of a new customer.
Yeah.
They're going live with a new company on a different NAV server, and later they're going to upgrade their own old Midis flow.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think maybe this new NAV should have this code if it's possible.
Of course. Yeah. The thing is that I have planned to work with the package today. So the things that we have recognized in the pilot here, I think one of those were pretty strange, because we had Swedish tokens, Swedish characters in the code, and they could not even be imported in the international, and I can't say why, but we need to fix that, so it's not a problem. But after we have fixed that, I think it's possible to import it, and you can use the package. And if we find something really important, then we will do an update for that also. But I think you should start with this package, of course. I think every new project now should start with this package.
Yeah, I can wait until tomorrow, then hopefully it's done.
Yeah, if it's possible. I will work on this today, and we will fix the small things that we have now.
Yeah, cool. I'll wait tomorrow.
Perfect. Okay, Magnus, any final words? Is he here anymore? Has Magnus left us?
I guess he passed out.
Yeah, he got so shocked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he left.
Okay, yeah, I guess we can close it down then. Have a nice day, everybody.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.